Hello, everyone, and welcome. I'm Jennifer Urezzio. And there have been definite times in my life where I could point to that was proof that the divine knew who I was. And I feel it's so important for us to share those stories and for people to hear those stories, especially times where you're might be a little like, yeah, does God know who I am? Or am I like just out here in the world on this marble alone? So this show provides a forum for those narratives, and it's so important for you to know your conscious connection to your divinity. And I'm with Aaron Adlinson. Oh my God, why is it so hard for me to say, Aaron?
You did
First
it.
of Yay! First of all, let me just tell you, I freaking adore this woman. Listen, everyone, I'm a bit of a brat, and I have very select people I go to for support and help. And Erin is one of those people. So you know she has to be good. Welcome, Erin.
Thank you, Jennifer. It's so fun to
Yay.
be here.
So fun. So I really want to know from some of the experiences where you could go like, yeah, like that's proof that there's something bigger out there supporting me.
hmm Yeah, my favorite stories of this all involve synchronicity. And as you know, I do a lot of work with dreams. And so sometimes that involves dreaming about something and then experiencing it. Other times it is just that sense of synchronicity. So I'd love to tell the story about how I came to study astrology
Love it.
as one of those examples. I was always curious about astrology, but never beyond maybe reading my horoscope in the newspaper, like a lot of people. So I didn't ever have an intention set out in my life to become an astrologer. And I went to a conference at which there was an astrologer who was speaking. And I kept literally bumping into this man in this conference of about 2,500 people. So it was like between every session or coming out of the bathroom or coming out of a lunch line, whatever, he was everywhere. And so I decided to figure out who he was. And it turned out that he was a presenter. I went to his session. It was great. Then leaving that conference, which it was a spiritual conference in Las Vegas, if you can imagine that, kind of interesting place
They
for
were
that.
always in Las Vegas. Why Las Vegas? I mean, don't get me wrong. I love a good slot machine, but really?
Yeah, it doesn't really match frequencies for me. But anyway, um, I literally bumped into him. We almost knocked each other down in the Las Vegas airport.
Oh my
Each
God.
of us running to the bathroom on opposite sides, right? And so again, I thought, what is it with this guy? Left it alone. Then later, as I'm waiting for my flight, I decided to go get a coffee. And who gets in line behind me?
The
But this
guy.
guy. So we have this conversation, and he tells me that he's teaching an astrology certification in South Dakota, but he's from Colorado, and I'm actually from South Dakota, and I was teaching in Colorado at the time. So all that to say, it came time for the first weekend event, and there was a huge blizzard right over Spearfish Canyon in South Dakota, which is where the event was going to be held. And I, at this point, was very determined to go. I'd had a few other synchronicities about this guy. I think I heard him on Hay House Radio like the next day when I got home randomly. So I got in my little Honda Civic and drove north towards South Dakota, knowing full well that I might get stranded somewhere or have to stay in Wyoming, but I was going to give it my best. And I get to the mountain pass, which is the kind of the last leg of the trip before getting to the location, and it's closed. And then they're plowing and whatever. And suddenly this Wyoming cowboy in a big white truck pulls up behind me, gets
Which
out
is
of
a
his
great
truck.
image to begin with.
I mean, I just, I'm like, he's got his hat on. I mean, literally he's like a rancher, he's a cowboy. And he knocks on my window and says, I don't know about you, but I've got somewhere pretty important to be. If you want to go for it, I've got chains, I've got everything. I'll lead the way and I'll make sure you're safe. So it felt like this guardian angel
So
that was
first of all,
there to guide me
that
through the
cracks me
snow.
that cracks me up because whenever I like to picture God, I picture him in either Elvis or a cowboy. So I
Yeah, Sam
love this
Elliott.
image. Yeah,
Sam Elliott
I
came
love
to
Sammy.
guide me through the snowy pass. And he also was sort of local, I guess, between Wyoming and Spearfish, so he knew people. And I felt safe with him, and that's something that's not normally I'd be like a strange man leading me down a deserted road. I don't think so, but this really just it felt very good. So he got me there and called his friends actually to come plow the road to get me into the lodge where we were staying.
Amazing.
And if all of that wasn't enough, at some point the blizzard kind of picked up again, and there was like a whiteout condition, and I couldn't see the road, so I was like had slowed to a crawl, and a female deer jumped out from the snowbanks into the middle of the road, and I swear guided me through the whiteout, and then disappeared as soon as the snow stopped. And so that was, an experience for me of I'm being led on a path and I have no idea why, but all the signs are there and it's so clear. And then I did also have dreams about this man, this teacher, and my family and my ancestors were tithing him. So it was this sort of temple, and he was I don't know, the preacher or the priest or whatever. And like my grandmother was there and giving him money, and everybody was so grateful to him. And I don't think it was about him, but it was about, healing some old family wounds through that work that happened and that released so much for all of us.
It's an amazing story on so many fronts, because there's so many elements and resources that Source will use, right? Humans, nature, ancestors, dreams. Like, I think so often we're kind of blind to how the divine is presenting itself to us because we want it to look in one way, and we kind of get lost and we miss that. So your story is so incredibly beautiful. My next question for you is, what has been your process to opening and to keep opening up to divinity, to receive more love from this big thing in space or whatever, this like universal force thing?
Well, one of the things that I've learned is to give back. So I used to exist in this state of feeling like there were times of flow and times that were empty. So if I was experiencing synchronicity or magic, then I was in the zone and divinity was there. And if I wasn't, then it was missing. And it was kind of an experience for me. And so what I've learned is that in the times where synchronicity might be quieter in my life, that is time for me to give back to Source, to divinity. And so that's where I consciously tune in and connect and ask questions like, how can I serve today? Or what support do I need, right? Rather than just expecting that energy to always show up for me. It's become a two-sided relationship.
Okay, so I've done like now 16 or 17 or 20 of these interviews, and that's the first time this concept of giving back in that conversation, in that capacity, right? We've heard about giving back with tithing and co-creating, but this exchange of giving back with divinity is such a beautiful concept, and I think it's an underused concept, and I'm going to include it in my sacred practice. So thank you for changing my life.
Yeah. It's not always easy to remember. But I think I've come to such a point of evolution with my own relationship to spirit and Source and divinity that I realize I can either feel empty and unhappy and disconnected, or I can give back in those moments. There's like two choices, and one feels amazing and the other feels isolating and depressing.
It's beautiful. Mm-hmm. So tell us a little bit about your service in the world, and don't forget to give out your website address.
My service in the world?
Yeah, what do you do to offer?
Yeah, so I'm a psychotherapist and I work directly with the subconscious. I specialize in dream work, but also fold in these other elements like astrology and past lives, and just really the ancient soul part of the human that wants to express. So a lot of people that come to work with me have already done other types of therapy. They've already kind of talked through a lot of their life story and their process with someone or with many people, and they're looking for something deeper. And and this way to kind of launch themselves from the current expression to another expression. Most people who work with me for any length of time end up changing pretty dramatic things in their lives, but they're always things that we're ready for change. My website is naturaldreamtech.com. So that's where people can go to find out more about what I offer. And I always offer a consultation to anyone who's interested in starting work with me, because I want to make sure that we're on the same page, kind of walking a similar path.
Beautiful. And everyone, I went to Erin after the death of Roxy because I had some trauma and some grief around it. Still have the grief around it. You know, it's an ongoing process, right? But you really helped me like let go of the trauma around the experience and witnessing what happened to her. So thank you so much for that. And you have a chance to meet her. You should try. You should make it happen.
Thanks, Jennifer.
Welcome. Erin, what's the last thing you want people to remember from this conversation today about being connected?
It's a choice. I think that's the biggest takeaway that I've had from my own experience. We can choose to consciously be connected anytime. And so, yeah, rather than being, as I've been in the past, a victim to whether or not the energy wants to show up, to choose it for yourself.
Beautiful. Thank you. I love it. Everyone, you've been listening to Stories with the Divine, or watching it rather. And if you're interested in having a deeper connection, you could log on to soullanguage.us/gift of purpose and get your free gift. And thank you again for watching. Share the video. You can give me a little thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. So thanks a lot. And Erin, thank you so much for just being who you are in my world. So thank you.
Thank you.
All right, everyone. Bye for now. Bye.